Hi folks. Recently, the member nations of the G20 held a summit, and it was fortunate enough to have it in Osaka, Japan. So being the Japanese the gracious host that they are welcoming these people into their country, they showed one of the videos of Osaka in a series called Inspiring Cities of Japan. And in the beginning of this video about Osaka, there's a map of Japan that was displayed lickety-split, real fast, and that upset the Russians because it showed the Kuril Islands belonging to Japan. And the Russian Federation complained and said, wait a minute, those are our islands. You occupy them now, but they're not your islands because you stole them. Let me show you how fast this map appeared in the video. Gee! And yet the Russians noticed it on how fast it passed through the video. I made a video in 2012 about the Kuril Islands and how they were stolen from the Japanese, and here in part is part of that video. Between Japan and Russia, there is a chain of islands. That's them, kids. Those are the islands. I think the whole chain is called the Kuril Islands. And over the years, ownership has switched among those islands. But basically, they're Japanese islands. The Japanese laid claim to most of those islands. And it was going back and forth. But in 1855, while there was a treaty signed between Russia and between Japan, establishing the border on those islands on who owned what territory. That was it, kids. A border. Then in 1875, or was it 1895? No, 1875, another treaty was signed between the two countries, moving the border further north. And in return, the Russians got control over other land on an island that's not in the map. So it was an exchange, basically. So these islands remained under Japanese control until 1945. The end of the Second World War. The Russians, the Soviets, were not involved in the war in the Pacific. A few days before the end of the war, they decided to invade the Japanese in Manchuria. That's what they did, kids. So now, on the 15th of August, 1945, essentially the war was over, a surrender by the Japanese. Not the official surrender, but an announcement of the surrender by the Japanese. A few days after this, the Russians, the Soviets, the commies, they invaded the Kuril Islands. That's what they did. They stole the islands. Hey, wait a minute. The war was over. Not as far as the commies were concerned. They stole the islands from the Japanese. There were 17,000 Japanese citizens and residents on those islands, and the Russians shipped them to Japan at Hokkaido, which is the northernmost big island of Japan. So they got rid of the Japanese off the islands, and to this day, the Russians still say, those are our islands. Who cares if we stole them? They're ours. See? All you need to know, you just heard in that video. Those islands belong to Japan. They were stolen by the commies in 1945 by Uncle Joe, Joe Stalin, affectionately called Uncle Joe by the American news media, because we know the American news media has a love affair with commies, dictators, and thugs. The Kuril Islands belong to Japan, and forever shall they show those islands as being Japanese. We'll see you. God bless you. God bless America. God bless the nation you happen to be. And God bless our good friends and trusted allies in the land of the rising sun, Nihon-koku, Japan. See ya.